Calling case 251403576, State of Utah versus Tyler James Robinson. Could you state your name?
Tyler James Robinson.
So, Mr. Robinson, you have a right to an attorney. If you cannot afford one, the court can appoint an attorney to represent you.
What if I told you the truth about Charlie Kirk's assassination isn't what you've been told? Imagine this: a killer confessing in real time inside a Discord chat, a handwritten note tucked under a keyboard, and a man who walks up to police screaming, "I shot him, now shoot me," even though he has no weapon. It sounds like the start of a twisted movie, but this isn't fiction. It's real, and it's darker than anyone expected. At first glance, it looked simple. A student, Tyler Robinson, politically active, leaning left, openly supporting LGBTQ rights. He began dating his roommate, a transgender student named Lance Twiggs. On the outside, it seemed like nothing more than a college romance. But then came the messages. Private words between Robinson and Twiggs that hinted at something so chilling it would drag both of them into the middle of a nightmare. Utah prosecutors are now seeking the death penalty for Robinson. And to prove their case, they read out messages where he openly admits his guilt. "I had the opportunity to take out Charlie Kirk," Robinson wrote, "and I took it." But buried inside that same transcript was something else. A line that makes you question everything you thought you knew about this case. Because suddenly, another name appears. George Zinn, a man who seemed to materialize out of nowhere. Right after the shots rang out, he ran up to officers, shouting, "I did it! I'm the one! Shoot me now!" But there was no weapon, no evidence, just chaos. And then, when investigators checked his phone, the story swerved into a new nightmare. Illegal content so disturbing the FBI had to step in. Who was this man? Why did he claim responsibility? And most importantly, was he part of a plan to cover for Robinson? Or just another broken pawn in a game no one understands? The story only gets stranger. Hidden beneath a keyboard in Robinson's room was a note. It read, "I had the opportunity to take out Charlie Kirk, and I'm going to take it." His roommate, Twiggs, saw the note and messaged him in panic. "You're joking, right?" Robinson's reply, "I am still okay, my love." Calm, collected, and utterly convinced no one would ever connect the dots. But Robinson left a trail of mistakes. The rifle abandoned in the woods. Surveillance footage showing his limp. Messages he thought would stay private forever. At one point, he even admitted, "I hope to keep this secret until I died of old age." Think about that. He really believed he could kill, confess to his lover, and still take the secret to his grave decades later. And yet, somehow, the more he confessed, the messier it got. In those private texts, Robinson revealed that police had grabbed some crazy old dude, a direct reference to Zinn. He told his roommate, "They interrogated someone in similar clothing. I had planned to grab my rifle later, but the area was locked down." Was Zinn just a coincidence? Or was he a diversion planted to take the fall? Robinson's messages paint the picture of someone sloppy but chillingly self-aware. He worried about fingerprints on the rifle. He admitted to hiding it in a bush where he changed clothes. He feared his father would discover Grandpa's gun was missing. In his own words, he was terrified of losing a rifle that wasn't even his, while confessing to a murder that would destroy his own life. And yet, his obsession wasn't only with the act itself. He bragged about the weapon, about engraving bullets, about the scope on the rifle. He joked about seeing the news footage, even describing how Kirk's body reacted to the shot, as though it was a twisted validation of his actions. It was as if the killing had turned into a performance, one he thought only his lover would ever see. But Lance Twiggs' reaction in those texts tells a different story. Panic, shock, repeatedly asking, "You weren't the one who did it, right?" And yet Robinson doubled down. "I am. I'm sorry." The roommate, trapped in disbelief, became the unwilling witness to every confession. Meanwhile, Robinson's political leanings became a weapon in the media narrative. Some claimed he was a conservative radical. Others painted him as a leftist extremist. The truth? He was neither and both. A young man pulled into online subcultures, Discord servers, and echo chambers that warped his reality until murder seemed like a solution. And while Robinson confessed in private, he plotted in detail. "If I can grab the rifle unseen, I'll have left no evidence," he wrote. "I'll attempt to retrieve it again. Hopefully they've moved on." But investigators already knew. They had the transcripts. They had the note. They had the panic of his lover caught in text form, time-stamped forever. Then comes the strangest twist of all, George Zinn's confession. Remember, he begged officers to shoot him. He admitted to being the shooter even as he stood there unarmed. Later, he claimed he did it to draw attention away from the real killer. Why would someone volunteer to be the fall guy? Was he suicidal? Mentally unstable? Or was he deliberately protecting Robinson? To make it darker, when agents looked deeper into Zinn's background, they uncovered something unthinkable, a hidden life of crimes against children. Material so vile it shifted the entire focus of the investigation. Suddenly, the question wasn't just who pulled the trigger, but how many dangerous people were circling around this case from the very beginning. And yet, in the middle of this chaos, Robinson still thought he could control the story. He begged his roommate not to talk to the media. He warned him to stay silent if questioned. He even tried to prepare an exit, turning himself in through a neighbor who worked as a deputy. It was as if he knew the clock was ticking and the walls were closing in. By the time prosecutors laid out the evidence, 2 lives were destroyed. Charlie Kirk, a public figure whose voice was silenced in a split second, and Tyler Robinson, a young man who went from student to assassin, from freedom to death row, in less than a week of planning. And yet, questions remain unanswered. Who exactly was George Zinn? Was he a willing distraction? A disturbed man who wanted to take credit for something he didn't do? Or part of something larger we haven't yet uncovered? Even now, no one has given a clear answer. What we do know is this: Robinson confessed to his lover. He left behind a note. He admitted it all in private chats. And still, he believed he could keep it secret until his old age. That level of delusion, of arrogance, is what makes this case not just tragic, but unforgettable. Because in the end, this wasn't just about politics or ideology or even identity. It was about how far a human being can spiral when reality breaks. When lies, propaganda, and obsession consume someone until murder feels like destiny. So I'll ask you, was Tyler Robinson a monster created by his own choices? Or was he a pawn in something much bigger, hidden beneath layers of confusion and misdirection? Whatever the answer, one truth is clear. This case isn't just about the death of one man. It's about the death of reason. The kind of story that forces us to question what's real, who we can trust, and just how fragile the line between sanity and madness really is.
I am filing a criminal information charging Tyler James Robinson, age 22, with the following crimes. Count 1, aggravated murder, a capital offense. Count 2, felony discharge of a firearm causing serious bodily injury, a first-degree felony. The state is also charging defendant with count 3, obstruction of justice, a second-degree felony for moving and concealing the rifle used in the shooting. Count 4, obstruction of justice, a second-degree felony for disposing the clothing he wore during the shooting. Count 5, witness tampering, a third-degree felony for directing his roommate to delete his incriminating texts. Count 6, witness tampering, a third-degree felony for directing his roommate to stay silent if police questioned him. And count 7, commission of a violent offense in the presence of a child, a Class A misdemeanor. Also, following the press conference, I am filing a notice of intent to seek the death penalty.